the party's national spokesperson, Pule Mabe, joins us in studio for the conversation. Pule, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Morning and morning to your viewers.
So, when are we starting? Give us a little bit of an understanding. Tonight, I know, is a gala dinner, and then what happens?
Yes, actually, today we're effectively starting with the policy conference, but we start with the presidential gala dinner, which is happening in Nasrec. This morning at 10 o'clock, Comrade Jeff, in his capacity as head of policy, but also as someone that was tasked to head that task team on state capture and corruption, will deliver those discussion documents to the media on corruption and state capture. This emanates out of the work that the ANC had to do as it considered the recommendations coming out of the Commission on State Capture.
All right, so that's what we can expect being made today.
So that is going to be made now. That he will have that engagement now at 10 o'clock, and then in the evening there will be a presidential gala dinner. Tomorrow there will be full registration. We're expecting that most delegates, provinces are going to start arriving from today. So we'll finalize all the issues of registration and logistics. We have already met with journalists. I mean, it's quite interesting. Over 200 journalists have already been accredited. They constitute 10% of conference. So of the just over 2,000 people that were expected to attend the conference, 200 of those are journalists, both representing both international and national media, as well as local media outlets, your Josie FM and other regional media outlets as well.
All right, so you've answered my question. You're expecting about 2,000 delegates to attend, representing all of the provinces. That's who will be in attendance.
Yes. So what we have done is that through the Credentials Committee, located in the office of the Secretary General, that is now headed by our Treasurer General, Comrade Pule Mabe, they would have done an allocation to provinces. So provinces, after receiving the allocation, they then distribute those according to their own regions. So we are expecting all of our regions to have fair representation in this policy conference and to be able to make contributions necessary to take the African National Congress further forward.
Yeah. A big worry, of course, is the threats of strike action by ANC members and workers that have not been paid. So this we saw happening in the KwaZulu-Natal elective conference that took place this particular last weekend. And now they're saying that they're also going to bring this to the National Policy Conference. What is the latest on this? What's happening?
Well, we have reflected on this. The Treasurer General has given us an update. You would know, Leanne, that the introduction of the Political Party Funding Act has caused some constraints, especially as it relates to the thresholds of how much you could be able to raise as a party and all of that. And the Treasurer General has been doing his best to make sure that we could deal with the situation. We can confirm that we will be able to deal with part of what has been outstanding. The TG will be able to, through the relevant channels of the African National Congress, be able to engage with staff on that. We were given that kind of an update yesterday in the National Working Committee, and urged all of our members of the NWC, including members of the NEC, that the work to raise funds must not only be left to the Treasurer General. The ANC is an NGO, as you know. So it means that all of us who are in positions of leadership have got to make sure that it's all hands on deck. We work with our treasury to make sure that we could be able to deal with this situation and allow the ANC to be able to function optimally, discharge its own responsibility, and execute leadership to the people of this country.
So the way forward, I mean, if they do, and are you up to date on payments? Because it's a big worry.
We will be able to deal with a part of what has been outstanding from the report that we were given. We'll be able to also just take staff representatives on board. The good thing is that you have got progressive comrades who are leading our staff there. We must commend them for that. They put in long hours, sometimes uncertain on whether they will get paid or not. But because they love their organization and they understand the environment under which the ANC operates, they still give their all to allow the ANC to be able to function. We have also acknowledged and appreciated the work that is being done by our staff. And we have said that even as we start the policy conference, we've got to make sure that part of what has been outstanding is also attended to. We're also being updated that their own issues of medical aids and all of that have also been attended to.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll see and watch on that one, because that could be a bit of a sticking point.
We will be able to give you updates. We
Good.
are working with staff representatives.
Okay.
We are taking everyone along.
Now, I want to talk, you've already mentioned it, that at 10 o'clock this morning, ANC NEC member Jeff Radebe is going to be holding a press briefing on certain issues, state capture being one of them. Now, I want to dwell a little bit on this, because obviously we saw the final part of the state capture report being handed over to the president. He said he would respond within 4 months. However, within the internal ranks of the ANC, there's got to be movement. There've got to be things that are being done and said that is trying to get to the bottom of who's been implicated and some of the things that have been said there. So perhaps you can give us a brief outline, if you're able to, as to what will be said this morning by the member Jeff Radebe, and also what's being done internally.
Well, as soon as we began receiving the different installments of Judge Zondo's recommendations, as the leadership, we then took a proactive stand, established a task team headed by Comrade Jeff Radebe to work on what should be the ANC's response to some of the issues that are being raised. Remember, part of the things that are being raised there also have got to do with our own method of work. What is it that the ANC can improve, taking out of those recommendations to make its work much better? What are the things that the ANC needs to change? What are the lessons learned out of this whole period that would have been characterized by what came to be known as state capture? So we are drawing lessons. It's not just only about the ANC being seen to be taking action. It is also about the ANC drawing certain lessons. The fact that we had established a task team on its own is a demonstration that we do take the work done by Judge Zondo quite seriously. Of course, where we might want to say, okay, perhaps here there would have been a bit more of issues that would have been overstated, would then say this is the position of the ANC and this is how we believe we need to be moving further forward.
But, you know, you already look at things like, for instance, the whole issue of the step-aside rule. Now, I mean, this is intrinsically linked to those that are before a court of law, those that are facing charges and, you know, may be involved in issues of corruption. Now, you've got provinces like Limpopo. They were also the same echoes happening at KZN, saying that they want that step-aside policy to be scrapped, that shouldn't be there. But doesn't that go against everything and the billions that were spent on something like a Zondo Commission?
Well, remember, the step-aside resolution comes in at our National General Council as part of restoring the credibility of the African National Congress. It then gets to be taken to the 54th National Conference, regularized as a resolution of the ANC. Now, we are hearing voices coming out of our structures talking about the consistent implementation of this rule. So we are going into this policy conference. We will be able to engage. And I mean, look, out of engagement, it could be that we need to either enrich or strengthen the work that we have done to make sure that in the manner in which we implement our resolution, there is consistent application of internal processes of the African National Congress. So structures of the ANC, dynamic as they are, have got all the platform to raise whatever issues that they may deem fit or necessary. But as you know, the policy conference makes recommendation to the national conference. Part of introducing a rule like the step-aside rule as a resolution was about restoring the credibility of the ANC and making sure that in its path to renewal, the African National Congress is seen both in deeds and in action to really be committed towards this renewal agenda. So there will be that kind of engagement. Members of the National Executive Committee are going to be expected to rise to the occasion, provide the necessary clarity to delegates attending this conference, remind them that when these resolutions were arrived at, it was all about restoring the credibility of the ANC. The ANC doesn't take resolutions because it wants to deal with a certain section of its membership. The ANC looked at itself in totality and then say, what are the things that we could be able to do to restore our own credibility? Remember, when the ANC is seen or viewed to be a credible organization, it is easy for it to garner, consolidate, and win the confidence of the public. This now allows us to also occupy the seat of government, because we only lead because the people believe in us. And if people don't believe in us, there's no way that they will wake up and go to the polls to vote for us. So
a lot of people aren't voting for you.
We have
not.
said
The ANC have lost a lot of credibility. And one of the things, I mean, we've got to wrap up because we are going to news. But I mean, one of the things that you have been promising as a party for a very long time, since 5 years ago, and that was the song from the hymn book that our President Cyril Ramaphosa was calling from, that he will call unity here. He's bringing about a whole new change, and everybody's going to be together, and there's going to be this brand new renewal. Things that we're still waiting to see, because this feels like it hasn't gone anywhere, and it feels like the ANC is anything but a united party. Just take what happened in KwaZulu-Natal, for instance. I mean, the president being booed by party members himself. And this is worrying. When people watch this, they think, you know, again, if this party cannot stand together, why should we vote for them? And a lot of people are not voting ANC.
Well, Leanne, the ANC is a democratic organization. Members of the ANC may express themselves on different views from time to time. Sometimes it could be because they are frustrated by this or that. But the fact that the president of the ANC made the time to go and speak to the delegates attending the provincial conference of the ANC in that province on its own is a demonstration that the leadership of the ANC is not afraid to face whatever hostile situation that might be there. Imagine if the president did not go because there were talks that he will be booed when he gets there. As the leadership, we must even go to tough terrains. We must be able to face our own members and be able to explain to them even the difficult things that they might not want to listen to. That is what providing leadership is all about. And we must commend the president for taking the time to go to KwaZulu-Natal and being able to allow and then being able to deliver his speech up until the end. So the president did not stop halfway through his address. He still had to speak about the most difficult issues there.
Yeah.
You know, so that for me was really a display of leadership on his part.
And this weekend, are we going to be seeing unity, or are we going to be seeing boos and, unfortunately, internal fighting again?
When members of the ANC come to gatherings and they express themselves in a different way, you know, it could be because they want to register certain points. Our expectation, and the reason why we're making ourselves to even come to Morning Live, is to reassure the rest of society that this 6th National Policy Conference is going to be a great success. Well, of course, it will be dynamic. Members will be given a platform to be able to express themselves. We'll be there ourselves, filing commentary with you in the media and making sure that we use your platforms to give our people the necessary update.
All right, we'll be there. The dinner this evening, of course, tomorrow registration's completed, and then on Friday should be the actual start of talking about policy, and we as the SABC bringing all of that to you. So that's ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe talking to us on various issues affecting the policy conference that starts this evening.